everyone sets out to buy the dream, which is the Gold Cup horse. And will he eventually do it? He'll have to learn to race a little differently. He won't win a Gold Cup the way he races at the moment. Even at Leopardstown at the Dublin Racing Festival, he attacks. He wants to stand back rather than get in. And when you get to a 3 1/4 mile chase, you have to conserve energy and use those big jumps in the last 3 or 4 fences rather than attacking the first 10. It just takes too much out of them. So he'll have to learn to race differently, Gavin, if he's going to win the Gold Cup.
And the other question I have for you, Willie seemed to be much more happy with his jumping on Christmas than the last day. The first fence that I would call it down the back straight, I'm not sure if lunge is the right word, but he certainly stood off it. And again, at the third last, he was similar. Would that worry you, or are you happy overall with his jumping?
Look, my bottle is gone, but I'd go out and ride him.
Perfect.
No interest. He looks surprised with that.
I've no interest in riding in horse races anymore, but I'd nearly have a go and gallop in the champ. His jumping wouldn't bother me.
So your bottle isn't gone anyway. And,
like a go on him, Davey, I'd say as well, wouldn't you?
He's a beautiful horse. Do you know, I was actually just so impressed by him his first day. And look, I take everything on board what they're saying about his jumping, but the step up from winning a beginner's chase to what he done the second day it's a dramatic step up. It's very hard to put it across, but nobody else can do it, only Willie. Gordon does it, you know, but not to the same extent that Willie can bring a horse from a maiden. Their first start winning, their next start being a grade 1, it's phenomenal step up. Like, it's just not another step on the ladder. It's from first step to the 8th step. This is the 10th step. Do you know what I mean? I think Bob Ollinger is a better horse. I really do. I think he's a very, very good horse. And I don't have the same issues that everybody else has with his jumping. The only thing, and Ruby has put it in my head a little bit with him, is he doesn't, what you said earlier on about the 2 milers, and he's safe. I think that Bob Ollinger, is it a certainty that Bob Ollinger is going for this race? Is it nailed on that he's going for this race?
No one has said any different. I think everybody has just assumed. Do you think he could move now because the other horses parachuted in?
No, because for the reason is he won the 2 mile 5 race last year. This is 2 mile 3 and a kick. There's no reason why he couldn't step up to 3 miles. I think he's got bundles of stamina, bundles of class, and the 3 mile, I don't think there's a problem with his jumping, but he would be going a completely different gear in the 3 mile race, and he can jump him sideways if he wants. He'll win the 3 miles, the Brown Advisory.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I do think if he runs in this, I'd hate to be a punter trying to decide which one. It'll be a case of I like Galloping the Champs or I like Bob Ollinger. I think it's that close. I do think that Venetia Williams' horse has a life for sure, but he's nowhere near as good as these two. It's a hell of a horse race. If they both go for this race, it wouldn't surprise me if one goes 3 mile. If they split up, they'll win each one. If they run against each other, I'm just siding with Bob Ollinger because he's a better horse on paper and what we've seen and what he's done. He's a better horse for me.
Good man. Okay, so Davey,
Harry, you're one of the best opinions in racing. Who do you think?
I'd have to go Galloping the Champ, I think, Gavin. I love Bob Ollinger too, and couldn't knock the horse. Was very impressed by him at Cheltenham last year, and seemed to school pretty well the other day, didn't he? Just a little bit tight to the last. And from what we could see,
between us, neither of us had a pair of binoculars. And we were trying to watch it off the top of the owner's trainer stand at Navan, but he wasn't losing ground to the horse he was with, whose name I found out after as well. Can't remember now. Wasn't much for horse though.
Okay. He ran away from him anyway. That was the most important thing. So Bob Ollinger for Davey. I think the rest of us are with Galloping the Champ, but again, that should be a great race. Next one shouldn't take too long. I don't know if we VT for this one, but we're just going to get the panel's view. Allaho, Davey, the Ryanair chase, his to lose. He's Willie Mullins banker the whole week, which, given the artillery he has, I think says a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, the step back and trip and the way they've ridden him has just found a new found the key to him. He's a very, very good horse, and he will be very, very hard to beat.
Conflated is in there at 8-1. I presume you want him to run in this because obviously you'd probably be riding Galvin in the Gold Cup.
Yeah,
He's no say.
I've no say.
No.
And
he's got the rosary beads out at home, hoping for the best.
Yeah, look, he's always been a good horse. He has enough pace to run in this or the Gold Cup. He's got a live chance either or. But I'm looking down through it, like Energumene doesn't run, a Blue Tar doesn't run, a Shackleton Bourgeois doesn't run, and Faki Duderi's, was very good. Was good at the weekend, but maybe not as good as Conflated was in Leopardstown. So, I don't know if he can beat Allaho, but I would say he'll be on the bridle for a long time during the race. Whether he's good enough to beat him or not, I don't know. But he going by this sheet, he'll be second favourite, in this race. So there's no reason why he couldn't run in it.
I'm not sure there was another horse in the Ryanair last year on the bridle apart from Allaho for most of the race reviews.
No, there didn't look to be. He went a hell of a gallop. If you were looking for one outside of Allaho, I think Chamblou is overlooked. Now, I know the Charlie Hall hasn't really worked out, but he was going to win the Charlie Hall by about 2 fences when he fell. Harry went mad in him in Cheltenham last year. I think if he just set out with the ambition of following Allaho to finish second, he most certainly could.
Okay, that's an interesting shout. He's not on the sheet here, so he's obviously a double-figure price at least. And Gavin, I don't know whether Allaho is necessarily a horse that would interest you at his current price. Would he maybe want to stick in a multiple, or is he gone a bit short for that even now?
It's a pity he's gone odds on. Yeah, he's 8-11. I said the other day with Davy Jennings, I had a cunning plan that he'd get beaten the John Durkin, and then back went 4 or 5-1. But he went and won the John Durkin because Steering for Launch fell 3 out. So I love the horse. He'll win. If he drifts out to even money on the day, just back him. Yeah, sure, he'll just win.
Okay.
I'd say if he drifts to even money, will he be after drawing a blank Tuesday and Wednesday?
Probably.
That has happened before, is it?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. And I think he then had 5 on the Thursday.
There wasn't as many favourites.
Okay. Maybe we will get even money about Allaho. Let's move on. If we can just have a bit of hush, please, guys, to the Stayers Hurdle. We have VT for this one. We had a sneak preview of it there a minute ago with Classical Dream and Flooring Porter. This is the closing stages of the race at Leopardstown, and it was a bruising battle. Gavin, we're watching the finish, but the start obviously was a big part of that race. Classical Dream seemed to get the jump on the field. How reliable is the form, and how big a chance do you give both those two horses?
Yeah, I think it's between the two of them. I can't have Champ, again, a 10-year-old. I can't have Paisley Park, who's 10. Time Hill is very consistent, but he's probably just not quite good enough. He got beat at Ascot by Champ. So, theory, that's the race there.
This race here, yeah.
So that form for me is not good enough. The two is definitely Classical Dream and Flooring Porter. He had a huge break to win at Punchestown, big break to win at Christmas again. I'd say Willie's disgusted that he ran him in Gorham Park instead of giving him a break to Cheltenham. So look, he's much better than that. At the start of the race that day, Danny turned around to have a chat with the starter afterwards because obviously he wasn't too happy with what happened. So he lost maybe 8 lengths that day at the start. Look, Flooring Porter isn't straightforward. Last year he won there with no crowds. He is a bit quirky. There's a few quirky horses in this race. He needs to jump out. He needs to make all. And if he does, he'll probably take a bit of catching.
So, okay, 7-2 Flooring Porter at the moment. He's slightly favoured to get his revenge. We'll just pause it there, guys, if we can. Davey, the main reason Flooring Porter is favoured, I think, is because Classical Dreams got beaten at Gorham Park subsequently. Would that worry you about him? How do you see this one overall?
I think Champ is the horse. I was in Cheltenham the day he got beaten, and he looked unbelievable, and nearly in a way he looked too well. And I maybe thought that he could have been undercooked in Cheltenham with the view that he would win anyway, with a lot of improvement in him. Now, there will have to be a lot of improvement in Champ, but watching him walk around the parade ring that day, he looked like a horse that there was an awful lot of work come off him between then and the festival. Now, I'm sure it was a genuine thing that they thought he'd win, and he didn't need to be at his peak the last day. So for that reason, I'm siding with Champ. I think Flooring Porter has to make the running. I thought Paul Townend was brilliant on Classical Dream. Forget about the start. That was just the way the cards were dealt, and he took him. But the most important thing is he actually stayed down the inside. He gave Danny Mullins no chance of winning the race because Flooring Porter cannot come off the rail. It's just with the horse, he can't come off the rail. And Paul Townend went bang down the rail. And I think if he had come off the rail at any stage of the race, I think Flooring Porter would have beaten him. Now, he's the reigning champion, so he has his chance. But I think Champ is the horse. I wouldn't underestimate him. I think there's loads of improvement on him from the last day. And he's got a liking for the track, stamina, abundance of stamina. And as long as Flooring Porter, which I don't think he will get the same lead as he has been getting in the past, we didn't leave him off in Navan. He was beaten. I imagine he was beaten when he fell. He didn't lead in Leopardstown and he couldn't win. And I think, you know, jockeys have just copped on to him that he's very dangerous when he's left alone in front. I think he was underestimated last year and he got away with it. But he's a very good horse. I just think Champ is the horse that could dethrone him.
Okay, Champ is 9-2, gets a vote of confidence from Davy. Ruby, Royal Kahala was one I was interested in if she was to run in this, but she has the mares as an alternative. Was she flattered by her win at Gowran last time, though? Classical Dream looked like he didn't run up to scratch at all.
Yeah, but home by the Lee is second, but Ashdale Bob, I suppose in a way, franked the form in the Boyne Hurdle on Sunday when he was second to the Devil's Coachman. So, yeah, she could be a runner, Gary, but she's going to go wherever the ground is softest. So, look, if it gets dry on the run into Cheltenham, she'll run on Tuesday because the watering they will do in the week beforehand would mean the ground will be slower on Tuesday than it will be on Thursday. But my biggest worry for both Flooring Porter and Classical Dream will be the occasion. Friday is sold out, and Thursday at Cheltenham is the next day that looks like selling out. And Flooring Porter won last year behind closed doors. Classical Dream has won at Punchestown behind closed doors and at Leopardstown at Christmas behind closed doors. He's raced in front of a crowd once in the last 3 years, Classical Dream, and he bombed out in Gorn. But everybody's prep, all couldn't hold him. He went to drop him in and he shagged off with him. I rode him in the Supreme and I was all bar off him on the way to the start. That was a 2-mile race and he got away with it. You know, Davy, from riding in that stairs hurdle, they will walk back almost to in front of the grandstand and then walk all the way back up around the bend to start in the back straight, right and cross in front of the best mate enclosure. It's the 4th race in the day. They'll have plenty of drink consumed in there by then, and there's plenty of noise and atmosphere all the way across. And I would worry for both Flooring Porter and Classical Dream in that situation. I'd be willing to have a bet in a false start and stairs hurdle. I think that could happen. And I would be against both of them for that reason. And Davy's coming down on Champ's side. I'd come down on Time Hills.
I mean, why should he turn the Ascot run around, do you think, with Champ?
I think he'd gone to O'Toy for his first run over hurdles. I think you only learn by experience with things. I know from going there for Willie, you can't go to O'Toy in November as your first run of the season. You're taking on hardened French horses who've been running in August and September. So you go and take on the best French horses who are hard fit, racing in their autumn championship, and you're having your first run of the season, and it leaves too big a mark on you. You can't beat them. It empties you out. I thought he ran well at Christmas. Phillips hasn't run him since. I think he could be better again in March.
Okay, lovely, interesting difference of opinion there. We got a few other races just to wrap up on the Thursday. Got the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. Dave, you might as well come to you about that one. Party Central mentioned earlier on. How do you see her prospects there? Winner of a handicap at Leopardstown last time.
Yeah, to be fair, she looked very well in the handicap. It has proved in the past that the winner can go on and run well, if not win at the festival. We were very disappointed with her in the north, but there was reasons for it, and she just barely got home in Punchestown. She wasn't fully wound up, but she's very, very idle. We're learning about her as we go along. It will be late. If she's going to win, she'll be coming very late, and I mean, the line is time enough for her now.
It's an ideal track for that.
Pardon?
It's an ideal track for that, right?
No bother. But you know, it's with her, she's tricky because she's very relaxed. She can be wound up before the race. She relaxes for the start of the race, but for some reason, halfway through a race, she just lights up and wants to go. And as you well know, when you're going and you're trying to restrain her and stop her from going, and then have to go again, get her to go again. It's just, she's not the simplest to ride. It worked out lovely in Leopardstown because she was a little bit taken back by the speed they went, her first run in the handicap, and she settled lovely, and everything went according to plan. If it goes as sweet as that, which I don't think it will, she'd be the ideal ride for around there. Just take your time and just arrive really late. I'd be very interested in I just looking down through the entries, skimming down through, and I thought Sanctuary for this, but she seems to be a little bit forgotten at times. Whether she was a fluke in Fairy House and she disappointed the last day, but back to Mayor's Company, she could be dangerous. Barry, you have something better down there.
Statuary. Yeah, she surprised me in the Royal Bond. I didn't particularly fancy her. Thought Danny gave her a great ride. I think she's been exposed twice since. Yeah, the obvious one is the mare that choked it away in Fairy House, Brandy Love, going to her left. Going left-handed will really suit her. But she likes to race on the pace. I think it's a race that more suits horses racing off the pace. Allegory Devassi is a strong stare. And I think one that could be coming from off the pace is Grand G. But to be perfectly honest with you, there's 28 races at the festival. And for my money, this one's too competitive to have a bet in.
Okay. And Dino Blue was the other one, Ruby. That seems to be very well back the last few days.
Yeah, and she's working really well. Won a maiden hurl in Clonmel. We don't know much about her. Look, I don't think there's a concertista in there. Who ran first time out here at 50-1 and just got touched off. But I think it's a really competitive race.
Okay, and Gavin, the last word on Thursday goes to you. We've got the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. We've just been talking about that with the guys. Also the Thames Final, the Paddy Power Plate, and the Kim Muir. I've no doubt you've got one or two for us in those races.
Start off with the Mayor's Novice Hurdle. Brandy Love is a sexy bit of stuff, so she could be hard beat. Look at Davy on part.
Hands up here, who knows who Brandy Love is? You're a sick man. And you
how come you know it?
And you need
Google there, Google on the phone.
You need help. Hands up, who knows who Brandy Love is in real life?
There's nobody going to back him up now, Davy.
No.
You're a bunch of liars. And your girlfriends and your wives are not watching, so you're okay. You're safe enough tonight.
Yes, this will go no further. Gavin, you were saying?
Yes, I was saying that, look, Davy did me a huge favour, Party Central there at the DRF. Brilliant, brilliant ride. The right man to do it. Like, he's going to have to, coming at the last, to take the lead in the Mayor's Novice Hurdle isn't going to work because it's too far out for her. She's loads of ability. The only thing you have to watch out for, because it's a grade 2, please go and check the weights for this race. So LA Bell carries 11.7, Party Central, unfortunately, 11.7, Allegory Devassi, 11.7, Brandy Love, 11.2, and Dino Blue, 11.2. So 3 of them have to give away £5, which is a lot. It's a pity it's not a grade 1, then to be all level weights, but that's just the way it goes. Brandy Love could be hard beat. In the Paddy Power Plate, Imperial Alcazar has a rating of 152. He's dropped back to 2.5 mile. He must have a chance. Bustleton is 20-1. It's got a rating of 137. It's a novice. It's had plenty of runs this season. I think it's had 8 runs since last July. And it ran over 2 miles in the Irish Arkle the last day. It needs 2.5 mile. If it runs in the in the Paddy Power Plate, 20-1 is too big. In the Thames Final, just quickly there, the Kim Muir, Ireland will win that with either Frontal Assault or Ain't That a Shame. They're both novices. They both have very, very good form. The Thames Final, Tully Begg, lovely profile, hasn't ran since October. Gordon Elliott is probably the best target trainer there is out there. So he already has run in Cheltenham. He's an English rating, I think, of 140. And Charles Burns is one in there, the big galloper. It's got a weight in there of 126. Well, I don't know. No, he'll get into the race now, but so just, you know, if he happened to get in on the bottom, so he'd probably take a bit of beating, you know. The only thing there is this, you know, there's a fella we used to use quite a lot. A fella there from Cork, Russell was his name, I'm sure. It's hard to get him now, you know. He reminds me of a song Cliff Richard had. It's so funny we don't talk anymore, but sure, look, that's the way it goes. If the big gallop got in, he'd have a chance, but Tully Begg is probably the one. There you go, Gary.
Any of that sound familiar, Davy? You don't talk anymore, okay.
Oh, no, we do.
We do.
Oh, God, we do, yeah.
You're available?
Oh, God, I'm available.
Available, okay.
That man, when the money's down, I'm always available.
Who could forget? It wasn't Roscommon that famous night. Okay, let's move on, folks. We got one more day to get through. Back to the serious business then. We're going to have a look, first of all, here at the Triumph Hurdle. We might get the lads to roll the VT here. Looks a great race this year. We've got Pied Piper, Vauban, Fildor at the top of the market. And here is Davy Russell winning on Pied Piper.
There's Davy Russell knocking Paul Townend down. Watch, rides him into the corner.
Walk us through, Ruby.
Cuts the snot off him, beats him 3 parts of a length. That's called, they have a black card for that in football. They don't have one in racing yet. It's brilliant race riding, but you rode Townend in with a cocked hat there.
Patrick called it dark arts, I think.
That's exactly what it is, dark arts. So you're supposed to get to Davy's age and you're the oldest ride and you think you own the whole track, so you ride all over the whole place. But look, there's Leopardstown then against Fieldor. Vauban wins. Care Allen is in the middle. He runs tomorrow. The horse in the yellow has been lined up for the Boodles. What's his name? You called him out earlier. The Tide Turns. Yeah, this is a good performance, but I was disappointed with your grey horse here, Davy.
Fieldor, Davy, finishes second in the end. I'm sure you were disappointed to get beaten. What about the performance?
Yeah, he's just very idle. He's a staying horse. I think Cheltenham will suit him better than this place, than this day. He had it easy enough the first couple of runs, but he's just very idle, and I would love to have went quicker and made it more of a staying race, and I was just unable to. Just very idle. He needs company. He needs to be going quicker, which he'll get in Cheltenham. He'll be better in Cheltenham. I was disappointed myself, but it was just, I just couldn't get him going. I just couldn't get him up and racing. Like, I'd hate to be taking a horse off the bridle in Leopardstown that far.
Just hold it there, guys. Thank you.
That far out, but I had to try and move him on, but he was just pricking his ears and was paying no attention to me. I should have sat in my hole and hit him too, but I just couldn't do it. I'd rather wait to Cheltenham and do it than do it there.
Often in these situations, obviously you won on Pied Piper as well. I know you really like both horses. You're not going to piss off any owners here though, because the same people own the 2 horses. If the race was tomorrow, which one would you choose?
They're very different horses.
Here we go.
I didn't ask you where the different. You just asked you which one you'd ride.
What's
Piper.
What you must remember
it's
is
the simple answers. Only like 2 horses, 2 names. Pied Piper, Fieldor.
Is it raining?
No, it's right.
not going to ring up the hotel again. Eh?
Is it raining? Is it, I don't know.
What's it doing over there at the moment? It's dry, is it?
Who cares? You only asked him if the race was tomorrow. You didn't ask him what you do in 3 weeks' time. You asked him what you do tomorrow.
We're not going to pin you to. We're just asking if it was tomorrow.
They're completely different horses. I don't know. Pied Piper was pretty awesome in Cheltenham the last day. On his back and visually, he was pure class. He improved loads from Punchestown, as did Willie's horse. If Vauban is the best there's only a kick between himself and Fieldor, and there's only a kick between himself and Pied Piper, so it's a very difficult, if it's just between the 3 of them, it's a very difficult decision.
Which way would you push him, Gavin?
I don't have the choice, you see. I'll just, whichever one I'll be declared on, I'll ride.
Hypothetical choice, though, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you 5-1. He rides Fieldor for as much as you want. So.
You think he'd be on Pied Piper?
Yeah, sure. Of course, he'd go and ride Pied Piper. Like Vauban beats Fieldor. Now Fieldor will love the 2 mile one. He'll love if it turns out to be a really fast run race. If the ground was really soft and turns into a stay, he'll end up a 2.5, 3 miler. A lot of 4-year-olds do. It's just that I'd say he's running into 2 crackers here in Pied Piper and Vauban. A half a length between them, as we've seen in Punchestown, and both have bolted up since. So at least Pied Piper, I suppose, has been its course and distance. It was the new track. It was the same distance the last day. Again, a brilliant ride from Davy as usual. It was a fast run race. He sat out the back and just went past him in the straight. The English don't look to be much. On the outsiders, Dr. Parnassus has been reasonably good. Ilite Tomp was, I think, 3rd in that race in Leopardstown, first time over hurdles. He might sneak into a place. But it looks between Pied Piper and Vauban. Toss a coin.
Good man. Thanks, Gavin. Really interesting one Gavin mentioned there. And I like the horse Ilite Tomp, the grey horse who was 3rd in the Leopardstown race. One of the things Ruby has drummed into me working and always watch the horses after they go by the line. And if you're watching on the TV there, he went by the winner pretty soon after the line that day, Ruby. It was his first run over hurdles as well.
He's the one that's open to the most improvement. There's no doubt about that. Vauban could jump better. But will he jump better? That could just be him as an ex-flat horse. He let Tomp at 12s, 14s, Gavin, is he? Yeah, he's an each way bet. He has to improve, and there's no reason why he can't get to field door and Vauban with the natural progression of any horse from their first start to their second.
Yeah, that was his first ever run over hurdles that day, wasn't it? Which was in at the deep end, to say the least.
Completely in at the deep end. Like, and I'd say Willie is training him in that kind of a way. If he wins the Grade 1 at the Dublin Racing Fest or the Grade 1 at Cheltenham or the Grade 1 at Punchestown, happy days. If he doesn't, he's still a novice next year.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great race. That's the Triumph Hurdle. We'll move on then to the Albert Bartlett. We might get the lads just to roll it there again. A very, very open race according to the betting. Hillcrest 7-2, Minella Crooner at 4-1, and Minella Cocooner is in there as well. Those two horses were first and second at Leopardstown in this race. Ruby, just talk us through this one. Minella Cocooner is the one who wins it. Great ride from Danny Mullins in the day.
Yeah, I think Danny won this. The horse in front jumped like a buck, and he put the others under pressure jumping. So he was always getting ground on the landing side of the hurdles, and he made the lads chase him. It was a really good front running ride. Would I be convinced Minella Cocooner would get 3 miles and a bit in the Albert Bartlett? No, I'm not. I think Minella Crooner will turn the form of Minella Cocooner. But having watched Hillcrest a couple of times, Gary, in replays from his winning Haydock on Saturday, I'd be in the Hillcrest camp.
Yeah, Hillcrest, trained by Henry Daly. Gavin, monster of a horse, well over 17 hands. Looks like he's got the world at his feet potentially, doesn't he?
Yeah, she's going to be a fantastic chaser next season. That was his first time over 3 mile in Haydock the last day. Just to tell you, the last 6 winners of the Albert Bartlett: 14-1, 5-1, 50-1, which was Minella Indo, 33-1, 16-1, 11-1. If you just have to go shopping, or you have to go somewhere, or you have to go to the bar and queue up in Cheltenham or whatever, just don't bother having a bet in this race. I think it's usually the worst race. On average, it's got the highest SP the last donkey's year, so I just wouldn't bother. A throwaway bet, if you have to have one. The Nice Guy, he's 12-1, trained by Willie Mullins. To my reckoning, Paul Townend's going to ride him. Maybe, unless he picks Minella Cocooner, but 1-2 bumpers. He won a maiden hurdle over 2 mile 3. He's unbeaten. He's I think Willie describes him as not flashy, and that's what you need for a race like this, but I'd keep your hand in your pocket.
Okay, just to go back to that horse, The Nice Guy, Ruby, I like him as well. This looked the race for him.
Yeah, it keeps surprising us. Won well in Ace, the horse that was third in that, Ramales. Won well in Punchestown during the week. Nice Guy. He's a typical Nice Guy. You wouldn't even know he was there. He's nothing, as Willie says, flashy about him. But he keeps surprising people. Just not sure he has the real profile for it, though, Gavin. I know Manila Indo and Monkfish were winners of the Albert Bartlett with a slightly different background, I suppose, profile. But they're 2 Gold Cup horses. I'm not sure the Nice Guy is, and it tends to go to a horse with a lot of experience.
Yeah, I think years ago you used to have loads of runs, but maybe the class is getting a bit better. I'm not saying he'll definitely win, but if Paul Townend rides it, Willie's having a good week. Just because of that only, he'll go off 6-1, you know.
Okay, Journey with me, to me, would be very interesting if he ran in this as well, but it looks as though he'll run in the shorter race. Davey, what's your view on this one? I'd say there's a few in this now. You wouldn't mind having a half brother or sister to at home, is there?
Yeah, hell of a race now. It's they're either a brilliant bunch of stayers or they're just average, and we won't know that till time comes on. I think there's loads of horses in this. The one horse that I think is vulnerable is a favourite, not for any reason. He's a bit deceptive looking at him. He looks a big, massive plotter, but he's not. And the worry I have on him is jumping. He's very awkward over his obstacles, which he proved in Cheltenham the last day. He unseated his rider down the back. Not ideal, but he made up for it the last day, showed his ability. He's a very, very talented horse, but I'd say his jumping is very questionable. Now, I have never ridden a winner around Cheltenham that jumps like he jumps. So he'll have to be very special to justify favouritism. I've huge respect for Willie's horse. Again, it would be a question mark whether the occasion and staying the trip would catch him out in Willie's horse. I love Gordon's horse. He's again another horse that at home you never see him. You don't know. Crooner. You don't know he's there. Comes loads of experiences. 1, 2 or 3 bumpers. Point appointed. Plenty enough runs over hurdles without being killed. But this year he's got loads of graft in him. I think there's loads of horses in this race that you could have. if Journey for me went for it, I thought he should be favourite. I was very impressed by him. He's done nothing wrong. He's very similar profile to Bob Ollinger without winning a graded race going to the festival. So for me, Journey for me, if you ran in it, if not, I would pick one of the Manellas.
Right then, that's the Albert Bartlett, which looks a pretty open race. There are plenty of horses getting mentions from the panel. Time now to look at the big race of the week. This is the one we've all been building up to, folks. So we'll let the video footage roll in the background and see who the lads think is going to win the 2022 Cheltenham Gold Cup. And Gavin, I'm going to start with you. We're going to have a look back at some visual clues. This is one of them. You can tell us again how good Davy was this day on Galvin, though. Did Rachel just put him in a pocket there? Did it just fall into his lap?
She did put him in a pocket, and Rachel's fond of doing that. It actually turned out to be against Rachel doing it. But definitely this fella riding this horse in the white with the red hat. In another 5 or 10 years, he's going to be some jockey, isn't he? Watch this for a finish. Well, the way he's going, he'll still be around. Look, Galvin is the one for me. I think Davy is going to have a very, very good week, and I think Friday is going to be Davy's day. I could see Pied Piper. I know you're going to hate this. Top Bandit has a chance in the county. He's going to be on Mount Ida in the Mayor's Chase, but I think he'll win the blue ribbon, the best race of the season. Galvin has won 7 of his last 8 races. And good news for you, Davy. His 4 runs at Cheltenham have all been on the old course, and I think the new course will suit him better because he has the stamina. He won over 3.6. The Gold Cup, as we all know, is all about stamina. I think the new course will suit him a lot. If the ground ends up good on the Friday, which it can do, that will suit him as well. He's won on all types of ground. I think he's the right profile. He's the right age. He's 8. Manella Indo is 9. Album Photo is 10. Plutard is 8. But I mean, has been beaten in the Ryanair, beaten in the Gold Cup. I just think the last day, the Savills at Christmas, it wasn't a fast run race, Gary. Galopin Des Champs was quicker for the full last circuit, but they did quicken up in the last mile. Now, you wouldn't think that Galvin would beat a Plutard for toe, really. You wouldn't have thought that, because a Plutard obviously beat Shack and Persois over 2 miles. But I think Galvin has everything. He jumps, travels, he quickens. He showed the National Hunt Chase last year worked out very well. So for me, Galvin each way, 4-1's a great bet.
Galvin, a big vote of confidence for Gavin. In case you weren't aware, that was Mr. Russell again, bagging a big prize at Leopardstown and conflated the Irish Gold Cup. Davy, this time around, I think we all expect it to be on Galvin, even though you're not going to tell us you're going to be on Galvin. But if conflated runs, you mentioned it earlier on, I don't think he's out of it. He's unexposed over that sort of trip, isn't he?
Yeah, very much so. He's a talented horse, and we always thought he was, but he's a bit quirky. He used to be stone mad. I hate when your man goes reaching for the microphone when you're halfway through a conversation.
That's why you have me on the other side.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, he's a talented horse, conflated. There's no doubt about it. He travelled really well the last day. To be honest, once we jumped a couple of fences in Leopardstown the last day, it was very comfortable. I didn't really need to do what I done at the second last, but I did it and it worked out and it was great. But Galvin then was the opposite. He grounded out. He's a good record around Cheltenham. You had to say it to me last year, would Galvin win a Gold Cup? You'd question it, but he's just been trained marvellously by Gordon.
Plutard is favourite, Davy. Is he the one you all have to beat, do you reckon?
Yeah, there's plenty of them in it. The one worry I have is when Willie Mullins starts tipping up Shack and Poursoir to win a champion chase, and he says Album Photo is going shocking. The last time he said that was when won the what's the good horse?
The Tour.
Vautour won the Ryanair. So I'd always be a little bit worried when Willie starts doing them things. But
you're not immune to doing it yourself now.
No, well, I think Tornado Flyer could be a player ridden the way Danny rode him in Kempton. Like he is the King George winner, so he has to be respected. It's a good race.
It is, and it looks wide open. Ruby Tornado Flyer obviously is a King George winner. He deserves respect, but I know you felt for a long time Album Photo was being underestimated. Should we be reading much into what Willie said about him the other day, that he didn't work well?
Yeah, I would. I know Willie holds Album Photo in a pretty high regard. He's trying to win a Gold Cup for a long time, and then Album Photo goes and wins 2 for him. So he's not going to talk Album Photo down trying to be clever. He thinks Album Photo is a genuine Gold Cup horse, and he doesn't really care what anybody else does. It doesn't matter tactically. There's no upside to talking Album Photo down. He's not going to scare anybody off running the Gold Cup. There's no agenda. I take him on his word. I know because I watched him. I'm taking him on his word. I did think he was way overpriced at 20 to 1 early in the year, but I would like to see him in the same form as he was going to Tremor. But he just hasn't been in that form for the last while. So yeah, it would concern me. As regards the race, I think it's a cracking Gold Cup. I'd have to agree with Davy. I didn't think walking out of Cheltenham last year that Galvin was my idea of a Gold Cup winner. I didn't think watching him in Down Royal that he was a Gold Cup winner. And I wasn't sure watching him in Leopardstown that he was a Gold Cup winner either. But he keeps on winning and he's going in the right direction, and that has to be respected. And he's a dour stayer. I think if you run the Savage Chase 10 more times though, I don't think Galvin wins. I think it was one horse getting an ordinary ride and one horse getting a brilliant ride. That's not going to happen every time. The laws of averages will balance out, and a Plutar would beat Galvin. I thought he was spectacular in Haydock, and I think he could be the one. Manila Indo did come home well behind Conflated, and he's definitely coming back to the horse that won at Cheltenham last year. But if you were offering me a ride, I'd ride a Plutard.
Yeah, Plutard is favoured, and probably with good reason, you'd have to say. Manila Indo, you mentioned him there, Ruby. He won it last year. I'm sure plenty of people here would have had a few quid in him that day as well. Is he trending in the right direction, do you feel?
I think he is, but I didn't like watching the rerun afterwards that we Conflated in front of him. He still pricked his ears 100 yards down in Leopardstown. I'm thinking, why isn't he have his head down and his ears back? Why isn't he chasing Conflated? Why is he pricking his ears and giving up or slowing down? I took that as a negative sign. I would have much preferred to see in Manila Indo's ears back, head down, and him galloping after Conflated. To me, he wasn't. Whilst there was a much better run. I don't know why, but it definitely just clicked something in my mind anyway.
Okay, so you're with a Plutard as things stand. I think I'm likewise, though I do think Conflated will run a big race if he goes here. Davey, obviously you're not going to desert Galvin, I presume.
I just have to ride whatever I'm doing.
Of course you will. Of course you will, Davey.
To the best of my ability.
We wish you well.
Thank you.
Whatever you're on.
Yeah.
Gavin, just finally give us your pick. Remind us for the Gold Cup.
Galvin, yeah.
Galvin.
And yourself, Gary?
I'm a Plutard, but as I say, I think Conflated, if he pitches up and run a big one. Let's go to the crowd on this one. It's the big race of the week. Show of hands, folks. Who fancies a Plutard for the Gold Cup? Decent number. What about Galvin? Plenty of Galvin fans, more than a Plutard, I'd say. Manila Indo, probably about the same as a Plutard. And Albion Photo, there's a few keeping the faith. You obviously don't believe a word Willie Mullins and Ruby Walsh are telling you, these lads do. Something else, I mean, we never mentioned Protectorat. I mean, there are English horses in the Gold Cup this year. Unsurprisingly, Ruby, Protectorat, can you see the case, or any of the other home team?
But the home team is only Protectorat. There isn't anything else. And I think his performance actually in entry was better than a lot of people gave him credit for. Everyone just said the race fell apart. The race did fall apart because of the gallop Native River went. And then he ended up falling apart. And Protectorat could only win the race, which he did. I think stepping up and trip really suited Protectorat, and he'll run a good race. I will be surprised if he wins, but I won't be shocked if he's in the money.
Good man. Okay, that is the Cheltenham Gold Cup, folks. We're into the final furlong. We're going to try and get some more nuggets for you in the shoulder races on the final day before we wrap up, get some questions on charity bets. Gavin, you wanted to ask Davey about Top Bandit in the County Hurdle. I know you fancy him. I would have loved to see him running that race at Leopardstown. I'm just a bit worried. He's a shorter price now to win the county than he was to win a lesser race in Leopardstown.
Yeah, but sure, he mightn't have been, Leopardstown mightn't have been his day, so it didn't matter what price he was. Echoes and Rain must have a chance. Went up £6 for a great run the last day. I'd imagine she'll go here instead of the Mayor's Hurdle, but Ruby will maybe clarify that. Top Bandit's a lovely horse, but just please admire the artistry of this man when he rides Party Central, and the balls that he'll have to do an Archie Bonnet and wait and wait and wait. And the same applies here to Top Bandit. Travels brilliant, jumps brilliant, and he has to come late. The County Hurdle, second race on the card, I think, on the Friday. So He's got an Irish rating of 135. Gordon entered a month ago in a UK handicap, as he likes to do. He's got a rating of 139. He's had 4 runs over hurdles. He's won his last 3, including a maiden hurdle back in October in Cheltenham that has worked out very, very well. So he has to have a massive chance. Do you like him, Davy?
Again, surprising us every day. Didn't think he was the most resolute. Just found a different way of riding him, and he's really turned the corner. He hasn't run in a long time. That's not a worry. I did be plus if anything, but how he's going, I have no idea.
And just on the Mayor's Chase, Gary, here's an interesting one for you, because there's 3 Mayor's race at Cheltenham. The Mayor's Hurdle's a grade 1, the Mayor's Novice Hurdle's a grade 2, and this the Mayor's Chase is a grade 2 as well. It's a huge pity for me because there's horses carrying different weights. So, like in the Mayor's Novice, some of them are given £5. If you get beat a half a length, say Party Central gets beat a half a length, giving a horse £5, to me it's just wrong. This should be the championship. Cheltenham is that, it's the Olympics. I think it's wrong that they're carrying different weights. But just to tell you, the Concertista has to give Mount Ida and Ellie May £3. So just to be aware of that. And it's only had 2 runs over fences, which seems mad that that's the case. To me, it's between Ellie May and Mount Ida. Ellie May ran Colreevy to, I think, a half a length last year, getting a couple of pounds. Just to tell you, Mount Ida has had 7 runs over fences. 6 of them are right-handed. 1 was left-handed, which was in the Kim Muir last year. Again, I had another cunning plan to back it in running because its jumping wasn't always 100%. And after 3, 4, 5, 6 fences, it wasn't even in the television. It traded at 1,000 in running in the Kim Muir. It jumped violently out to its right. I think it's had maybe treated its back and stuff like that. But would that worry you a tiny bit, Davey, that the only time it's gone left-handed, it jumped badly to its right?
Yeah, she shows no signs of it schooling or anything like that. And in Fairy House, early on, she was straight as a die, and then she jumped a little bit right. It's not going to worry. She's going left-handed. She's going to have to go left, and if she goes right, she goes right. I'm not worried about it right now sitting here. I'll be worried about it after jumping 2 or 3.
You're right in a hurry, yeah?
Pardon?
You're right in a hurry, yeah?
Not sure.
He fell into the trap, I think, didn't he?
Eventually,
Yeah.
eventually he gave it away.
Just to let you know, Jack did win on her at the festival last
You
year.
think Jack should ride her, so yeah.
He could.
Okay.
He could.
Is there any chance she'll go in the Gold Cup? No.
No. Oh, God, no.
He's no say. Why are you asking him?
And just the last race to finish on is the Martin Pipe, the 2.5 mile. They should nearly call it a novice handicap at this stage. Banbridge should have a chance. Chemical Energy for Gordon Elliott have a chance. State Man is a horse we need to ask Ruby about. They seem to think a lot of it. There's been a lot of print about that horse in the last month. Where he goes, we don't know what rating he's got yet. I think the weights come out next Tuesday or Wednesday. So if he gets less than 145, Ruby, can you see him going Supreme or a handicap, or you're not sure?
I would have thought one of the novices, Supreme or Ballymore. That's what I thought he would have got.
Okay. And is that because you feel he's well up the grade 1 class?
Just think that's what Willie will do. That's what Willie does. He probably won't even look at his mark and just run him in the novice because he's a novice. I like Saint Felician. Where's he going, Davy?
Yeah, he's a grand horse. He's multiple entries. He could go for one of the Carl Cup. He's in it, or he could go for this.
I think if he gets in here, he'd be my one.
Yeah, I thought early on in the year that when I rode him early on in the year that this was the race from then. They were talking about a champion hurdle, and now they're talking back for a handicap hurdle. So I think this step up and trip will suit him.
I think he's a rating of 146, I think.
Oh, a pound out.
Yeah, so.
It's the run in the Carl.
Yeah, Coral Cup. And just to finish, Gary, so I didn't get a chance because I was asking a question there. Langer Dan was second last year to Gallopin des Champs of 135. Gallopin des Champs ran that day of 142. So it was an impossible task. It finished 9 lengths clear of the rest. It ran in Taunton on Tuesday, finished last of 6. Go and have a look at the video. I'll just phrase it nicely that it wasn't knocked about. It was ridden by Lorcan Williams, who rode it last year. It was last of 6, beating 10 lengths. Anyway, that has a massive chance. It's 7-1 for the Martin Pipe. That's got a big chance, Gary. 140 was second last year of 135.
Okay, and Ruby, Gallopin des Champs obviously was a handicap lot last year. Is there a Gallopin des Champs from the Mullins Yard this time around, do you think?
No, but I was going through the same race on that kind of profile, and I would say Saint Felician is the blot. He's the graded horse, I think. From watching him in Goran Park the day he won, I've been waiting for him all year to drop up in what I was hoping would be 144 in the Martin Pipe, but 146 it'll be the Coral Cup. He'll do me.
Okay, the Coral Cup then. Same Felician, big shout from Ruby there. Don't think Davy's going to be on him though, is he?
Sure.
Will he?
He don't know, sure. He doesn't know. How are we going to know?
Doesn't look too optimistic looking at him over there.
He'll ride him, will he?
No, Bar Puppy is riding something else. Wouldn't mind riding him now at the same time. He's
Robert Power ride him.
Yeah.
Okay, that brings us to the end of the 4 days, folks. We've just got a further bit of business to take care of. First of all, I want to throw it open to the crowd here. Has anybody got a question for any of the guys here? Hand up straight away. We've got a mic just on its way. This man is first up here.
Has it anything to do with Brandy Love?
No, it's not Brandy Love. Question for Davey. Smoking gun was, I was at Fairyhouse today at the Hatton's Grace and Gordon was aiming the horse at the Kimmuir, but slight thinking that he might be for the Irish National. Is going for the Kimmuir?
The plan when I got off him in Fairyhouse, that because he had a little bit of an issue in his run beforehand, he pulled up, and once he finished off his race in Fairyhouse the last day, the owners would like a runner in Cheltenham, so that was the plan. A lot slower than I thought he was now, to be honest. I thought he was a better horse when I saw him win the Porterstown or one of them races. Then I rode him. He rode quite slow. I'd just be a little bit worried about him around Cheltenham.
Okay, not necessarily what you wanted to hear, probably, but we got a straight answer out of him.
There's loads of answers for the amateur races. What'll be the fox hunt?
Any question about the amateur races? He's happy to answer those.
I'd say St. Felician will win, and he's got a couple of JP horses running there, and they'll win. And,
all the ones you're not writing, yeah. Yeah, you probably knew the answer to that, Chair.
Des here, Gary.
Des, please.
Just a quick one. The champion chase. I've backed Savola. Now, I can't pronounce his first name. Each way 33 and 6 without 2. What chance would the boys give him?
One on Blue Savola. Won at Newbury, won the Game Spirit in Newbury last week. He's low, he's slick, he's accurate. You need one of the big three to run below par, which could very well happen. Yeah, and he's a runner. I know Davey was tipping something to beat Newby Negra. Envoy Allen. Yeah, I'd probably back Fun and Blue Savola myself over Envoy Allen.
Okay, Ruby's on board with that one.
Hey, Gary, I have Richie here.
Richie.
Hey, Davey, where will Ginto run?
I would say he'll go the middle distance. He'll go for, what do they call it now? The Ballymore. The Ballymore, I'd imagine. But again, as I alluded to, I don't know.
Don't hold him to it. But we think the Ballymore. It's as good as we're going to do.
Brandy
okay, anybody, one more maybe up here, this man?
Brandy loves...
he knows all about Brandy Love, yeah.
I don't know. Look, I won't be riding him, so it doesn't really bother me which race he runs in, to tell you the God honest truth. I think whichever race he runs in, be it the first Tuesday or the first Wednesday, I think he'll win either.
James here, Gary.
James.
Sorry, I've actually got two questions. Ruby. So I always thought Sir Gerhard might run the Ballymore. Then I seen that Willie was channeling all his Supreme horses towards the Ballymore this week. He said El Fabiola might go Ballymore, and then he pulled Classic Getaway back from the Albert Bartlett to the Ballymore. So that leads me to think that Jubilee Park wouldn't run two in the same race. So what's your opinion on Sir Gerhard then being channeled away from Classic Getaway?
I think Jubilee Park don't even know they own Classic Getaway.
That's a good response.
They paid 550.
500 grand here, 500 grand there. Easy come, easy go.
I would still think they don't even realise they own Classic Getaway because I said I haven't seen them run.
I wouldn't read too much into that. I wouldn't. Willie will be deciding between Sir Gerhard and Dysart Dynamo what he's going to do with those two. They would look they would look 1 and 2, and the rest will have to fit in around them. So, and I wouldn't be surprised by first day at Cheltenham if Il Fabiolo's ended up in the Supreme with Stateman, Sir Gerhard, and one of the others, and Classic Getaway ends up in the Ballymore. I think if you keep reading those statements for the next 2 weeks, Willie will move a lot of horses around and around.
No, that's fair enough.
It'll end up spinning, I'd say. If you keep reading.
I would start ignoring them.
Oh yeah, it's been a fairly tried and tested path over the years. But next one, Davey, for you is we seen him there. He was beaten by Sir Gerhard and Mighty Potter. Stripe Life. You fancy him stepping up and trip?
He can. The only worry we have is he's always run over 2 miles, and it's a big step up to 2.5. You know, that's the worry. He'll work during the week. Definitely have no decision made on what race he'll run in. Pardon? Oh yeah, he is. He's definitely going. I would say 60-40 Supreme Novices. But that very testing ground, Jan Navan, yeah, but it probably wasn't the best race in the world. Look, come here, we're mad about him. Massive horse. And he has shown pace, so there's no, that's why, you know, but at the same time, he's been beaten by Sir Gerhard, and I would think so too.
Go on, say it. Fucked up on him. He's telling you.
No, Paul Townend put a pay to that at the second last.
Oh, he went an hour too soon as well.
I do think he would have won that day in Leopardstown the first day, but no excuses for the last day. And if anything, Sir Gerhard, if he had to behave himself from start to finish, if it was a smoother run race for him, he'd be putting himself a step above them. So, you know, it's hard to know.
Okay, a bit more encouragement for Three-Stripe Life then maybe than Smoking Gun. Is that it with the question said?
One
No?
more, I think, down here.
Okay.
Dan here.
Dan?
My question is for the lads. I'm just wondering, will Adamantly Chosen travel?
Yeah, he could, depending on what kind of mark he gets, I suppose. He's had 3 runs now over hurdles, beaten twice, won the third day, qualifies for a handicap. Yeah, he could, but it would depend on what kind of mark he get. Or would you be better off keeping him for Fairy House for a 2.5 mile novice hurdle, a graded race there, and on to Punchestown? So I think that'll depend on what kind of mark he gets.
Even though the horse that beat him in Cork wouldn't be that great.
He's getting a stone off.
Of course he was. Drifts like a bars the next twice and runs in the Fred Winter.
So non-runner, no bet. If
We're all asleep over here, Davey, I swear.
non-runner, no bet for Adamantly Chosen by the sound of things.
I think the last two.
Last
Dan.
2, okay, last 2 guys.
Ryan here, thanks for the question. So I know there's no bankers of the week, but this is just a general one to all of us. After seeing Facile Vega the last day at Leopardstown, even Willie said he thought he was better. He thought he ran better than he thought he would. But do you think Facile Vega would be your banker of the week if you had a banker of the week?
Go down and ask the owner there.
I think there's yeah, look, I
Will he win, Jar? I don't know.
That's
not
what
what
you
you
get
said
for
earlier.
listening to Russell all night.
What did you say at dinner?
Sure, you only have to talk about one horse.
This is
I
this
just
is
had-
the
I
answer
just
that we've
say
been
I
listening
don't-
to all night, so I
said
can't
I
see
don't
any
know
point in
about
changing it
Facile.
now, Davy.
Tell them.
Davy, will American Mike win the bumper?
He's a good horse. It'll take a good one to beat him. Whether you have a good one or not, I'd say that's fairly obvious you do.
Well, Davy, we have a good one. You
Yeah.
have a good one.
Yeah.
Let battle commence and let the best horse win.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. No, I'm.
Well said. Come on, Jer. Wish you well with Facile Vega.
Once there's an Irish horse anyway, we'll be a little bit happy.
That's it. Okay, I think we're finished with the questions, folks. We've got charity bets now, €100 charity bet, I think it is, with thanks to Fitzwilliam Racing. Davey, we'll start with you. If you can pin it down to one horse. I know it's not going to be easy, but €100 for a good cause. Charity bets, Irish Injured Jockeys. Bit of hush, folks. Yeah, we'll get. Do we even know anything he's riding at this stage?
You have no chance of that. Huh?
Yeah. You want us to come back to you? We've only had 2.5 hours to think about it.
Are these Paddy Power prices? No.
Guide prices, I think, aren't they?
We can look up. We'll get your price. What is it?
Bob Allen. I want a better price on Bob Ollinger.
It's £100 win. They'll give you 2 to 1 on you.
No, I want a better price on Bob Ollinger. Like you get 2 to 1 anywhere.
Right, Bob Ollinger's the bet anyway. We'll get you a better
I'll get
price.
you a good price. It's Fitzwilliam Racing in Dublin, so I'll ask them.
Oh, they'll give 200. They'll definitely give 200. I know for sure.
Okay.
Definitely.
You want a bigger price and a bigger bet?
Yes, I want
Okay.
200 to win
Are
5.
you putting in the other 100 yourself, eh?
No, Fitzwilliam Racing.
Okay.
Whoever they are, they'll.
How do you know? How do you know Fitzwilliam so well?
I know that. I have no idea who they are.
Just said they'll definitely give you 200 quid and a
Yeah,
better
I know
price.
they will. Because they'll have to, because we'll embarrass them into it anyway if they don't.
Tad suspicious to
So
me.
that-
but anyhow.
That's 200. That's 200 to win 5 on Bob Ollinger from Fitzwilliam Racing.
I was going to say the fractions. Geez, that knocks it into a cocked hat. Bob Ollinger, the
Oh, whatever
Turner's
he runs.
Novice Chase. Davey thinks Bob Ollinger's going to beat Galopin Deschamps. None of the rest of us do, but fair play to him. He never goes with the tide. Gavin?
Sure, I'll just recency bias. I'll go for £100 win in Langer Dan and the Martin Pipe.
Good man, an English horse. Okay, well done. Langer Dan.
7 to 1 or 8 to 1.
7 or 8 to 1 for Langer Dan in the Martin Pipe to go in better than last year. I'm going each way on Ilate Tomp in the Triumph Hurdle at around about 14 to 1 currently. And Ruby, the final word goes to you on the charity bets.
Well, it's for the Inter Jockeys Fund, and we've big ambitions and plans what we're going to do in the future, so we can do it a right few quid. So I'm going to do a 50 quid each way, Yankee.
I was told it's a single, but anyway.
Davey knows them.
They'll give it to him. I know they'll give it
If
to
it
him.
is a single, 100 quid single, tell you what, Gary, we'll have 100 quid each way. I need at the Tomp. Your 100 and my 100.
Okay. I feel even better after that. Okay, Ilate Tomp, Ruby's in on that one as well in the Triumph Hurdle around about 14 to 1. That, folks, brings us to the end of the road. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Please give a big round of applause to our panel. Ruby Walsh, Davey Russell. Best of luck to Davey. Hopefully he will know what horse he's riding by the time Cheltenham comes around. And Gavin Lynch. Big thank you to our hosts here at Barberstown Castle. Please, big round of applause for Amanda Torrance, Ted Robinson, all the team here. It's been a fantastic evening. We've thoroughly enjoyed it. And the good news is the bar is open till 12:30. So get yourselves in there, get a few pints. We'll have a bit more chat about Cheltenham.